Good morning, first grade. It's time for Chapter 8 of Junie B. Jones. Chapter 8 is called Swooping. But before we start, we have an author's purpose activity. So I'm going to read you a small little passage, and you have to decide if the author wants to persuade you to think a different way than you thought before, or to think like he or she does. If the author wants to inform you and use facts to teach you about something that you didn't know before, or does the author want to entertain you and just give you a good time while you listen? All right, are you ready? Dear editor, did you know that fish have feelings? That's why it is cruel to go fishing. People should not fish with nets, hooks, or any other tools. It hurts the fish, and then they die. Also, if you ask me, fish don't even taste good. So why would you want to eat them? Eat a carrot instead. Yum. Please put this letter in the newspaper so everyone can read it. Sincerely, James Dawson. All right, do you think James Dawson's purpose was to persuade the editor of the newspaper to think like he thinks that fish shouldn't be caught? Do you think it was to inform the editor all about fish? Or do you think it is to entertain the editor with a good story? Write your answer in your AMI notebooks. All right, if we listen, we see that James gives an opinion that fish have feelings. He gives an opinion that he thinks it's cruel to go fishing. He says you shouldn't fish with nets, hooks, or any other tools. He says it hurts the fish. And then he says they die. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And he says, if you ask me, fish don't even taste good, that you should eat veggies. So he's telling him his opinions on it, and he's asking him to put it in the newspaper so that he thinks that way others can hear what he thinks. He's trying to persuade the editor of the newspaper to think like he thinks. So if you got persuade, give yourself a smiley face and your brain a kiss. If you didn't, that's okay. We will try again next time. This can be tricky sometimes. All right, on to Chapter 8, Junie B, and it's called Swooping. And yesterday, when we left off, the egg hunt was just getting started. They had said 1, 2, 3, the egg hunt was started. Now remember, Junie B is egg hunting in her bunny costume, and she's not supposed to be rough and tumbling and tackling. They're supposed to have a nice, polite egg hunt. The children ran. They ran everywhere, I tell you. They ran to and fro and up and down and back and forth and here and there. Also, Roger ran sideways, and Lenny ran in a circle. I watched them very fascinated. Some of the children were tackling and scuffling. They're not supposed to be doing that. Sheldon went through a shrub. That's when Lucille's daddy blew his whistle again. Tweet, tweet, tweet! Everyone, come back here right now, he shouted real mad. Everyone came back. Sheldon had a stick in his ear. He sputtered and stuttered and pointed at May. She pushed me. She pushed me. May pushed me through the bush. May stamped her foot. No, I did not, Sheldon. I did not push you. You pushed yourself, she said. She turned and looked at the daddy. It was the darndest thing you ever saw, she said. He shoved himself right through a shrub. The daddy stood there a real long time. Then he walked to the picnic bench and he sat down real slow. And he hit himself in the head. I went over and tapped him on the shoulder. I would just like to point out that the bunny did not run, I said. The bunny was the only one who walked. May overheard me. That's because the bunny can't run or the bunny will fall down, she called. The bunny should not get credit for that. The daddy hit himself in the head again. I walked back to Herbert. He looked kind of worried. The daddy is coming unglued, he said. I nodded. Yes, I said, the daddy is going to need backup, I believe. Backup is the grown-up word for the police might need to come, possibly. And guess what? Me and Herb were not the only ones thinking that either. Because just then, Lucille's Nana hollered out real loud. "Enough!" she hollered. "I have had enough of this nonsense with you children." Then she cupped her hands around her mouth and she shouted a brand new rule. It was called, "If there's any more running or fighting, she's going to call the cops." All of the children did a loud gulp. I looked at Herbert. "The new rule seems a little harsh," I said. "Only guess what else? The new rule worked, I think, 'cause pretty soon the Nana started the egg hunt again. And this time, no one ran at all. No one even walked hardly. Instead, we all behaved like little ladies and gentlemen, and we hunted for eggs. Very polite. May stuck to Sheldon like glue. I tried to stick to him too, but my giant feet could not keep up with that good. May kept on grouching. "You're not going to get the golden egg before I do, Sheldon. Even if you know where it is, I'll still beat you to it," she said. "I'm all over you like flies on egg salad." Sheldon rolled his eyes. "But I don't know where the golden egg is, May," he said. "I've already told you that. I don't know anything at all." I cut my mitts around my mouth. "I believe you, Sheldon. I believe you don't know anything at all," I shouted. "I've never thought you've known anything at all." After that, I hurried to catch up with him, because I definitely thought he knew something, of course. Sheldon turned to wait for me. Then all of a sudden, he glanced down at the ground, and he did a loud gasp. "I see one, he shouted. May and I turned to look. There was a bright green egg under the bushes. Sheldon clapped and laughed, and he hurried over to pick it up. But whoosh, swoop, scoop. May ducked underneath him speedy fast, and she picked it up instead. "I got it, she screeched. Then she put the egg in her basket and danced all around. Sheldon's face got sputtery mad. But before he could even yell at her, he did another gasp. I see one, he shouted, even louder than before. Then he clapped his hands and laughed real happy. And he hurried over to pick it up, but whoosh, swoop, scoop. May beat him to it again. There's May and Sheldon and Junie B watching. May is lickety-split quick. Two, now I have two, she hollered. She jumped in the air and kicked her feet. I swooped, I'm a swooper, I swoop, she said. And she ran back to Sheldon and leaned in his face. I knew I would beat you at this game, she said. Now I have 2 eggs, and you and Junie B have... She leaned her head into our basket. Let's count them. 0. Ha! You have 0, and I have 2. 2 to 0. 2 to zippity 0. Sheldon looked at me real upset. I frowned my eyes at him. Helpful hint, I said. Stop shouting. I see one. Sheldon pointed at his magic edge shirt. But I just don't get it, Junie B, he said. My grandpa said that the egg is with me. So why isn't the magic shirt working? I looked closer at the egg dribble. Maybe it's not lucky, I said. Maybe it's just dirty. Sheldon slumped his shoulders. Then he reached down his finger and he flicked off the egg. Only wait till you hear this. Just as he flicked it, his eyes got big and wide. What do you think happened? This time, I hurried to cover his mouth with my hand, but Sheldon shouted right through my palm and, I see one, he shouted. Then, before he could even move his feet, whoosh, swoop, scoop, May grabbed egg number 3. She twirled in a happy circle around us. 3 2 0, 3 2 0. It's 3 to 0, she yelled. Sheldon stood real still. Then very slow, he put down his basket. And he stretched out the sides of his mouth with his finger, and he stuck out his tongue at May. So he went, that's not very nice, but May's not being very nice either. That was appropriate behavior, I believe. After that, he snatched his basket up again, and he tried to rush away from May. But too bad for Sheldon, because May stayed right exactly on his heels. They were walking too fast for me to keep up. I stopped and watched them go. Then I did a big sigh, and I walked to the tree stump, and I sat down very glum. I hate being this dumb bunny, I said, because my feet are too big, and my legs are too slow, and my paw mints are way too clumsy. I slumped my shoulders, and I looked in the empty basket, and I did another sigh. Because let's face it, the bunny was a rotten egg. All right, that's the end of that chapter. And tomorrow we'll read chapter 9, Lucky Bunny. We've got only 2 more chapters left in this book, and then it is time for Easter for yourself. So, in your AMI notebook today, I want you to write about how Sheldon could have handled May, Sheldon and Junie B together. What could they have done to maybe make May stop teasing them about catching all their eggs? Make sure when you write it in your AMI notebook, you use your very neatest writing. You use good sentence structure with spaces and capital letters for names of people or the first of the sentence or names of places. Make sure that you end it with a punctuation mark and that your sentence makes sense, okay? When you write your date, write it the long way so that we can practice our commas and our capitalizations in our date also, okay? Have a very good day, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.